3 wins in a row for UCLA, and now they head back to the Midwest for a big one this weekend, taking on number 2 Indiana. Here to help us get ready for that and talk everything Bruin football is the interim head coach, Tim Skipper. Nick Koop with Wayne Cook. Welcome back on the Bruin Insider Show. And, Coach, one of the things Wayne and I were talking about post-game on Saturday was how you guys have found different ways to win these games over the last few weeks. And in this one in particular, nothing came easy, really physical game, tight throughout, and the guys found a way to get it done.
Yeah, you always wish you can have those 3-4 score games and then you feel all good in the fourth quarter and you ease on into the final. But finally we're in one where, hey, the strain matters. Like everything we've been preaching, the way we practice, everything is on the line here. And the way the guys responded on the sideline, nobody was pointing fingers. Everybody's like, hey, we're a play away, we're a play away. I heard that so much. And to hear strain coming out of guys' mouths and stuff like that, it was just awesome to get over the hump and to find a way to get the win and validate everything we've been preaching.
Coach, for me, I want to go straight to the glamorous stuff of that game, special teams. I think that people forget, coaches love to say there's 3 phases, man. You got to be good in all of them. But I said at some point in time in the game that the punting game mattered and field goal kicking mattered as well, obviously. But they had a really big weapon. And so did we. Maybe there was a kick that I thought was a little flat and a little low, and we might have given up some field position. But I thought Will did a fantastic job because it felt like after the beginning of the game, man, we had to play a lot of short fields, Coach.
Yeah.
And the defense, so this is a chance to talk about special teams, but also a chance to talk about the defense and how they had to rise up when they had to play a short field the way they did.
Yeah, and it's all connected, right? Totally. How do you get to the short field? How that happened? Everything goes together. First thing I'd say is Bailey McElwain does a great job with our special teams. Yeah. He's in this building as late as anybody, and he's always getting these new ideas of ways we can do different things. And I'm just glad he's here because he's really special guy, and I think he's going to have a very, very good career ahead of him. As far as, the different units, I think our kickoff team is phenomenal. Like, they're one of the tops in the country. I think Bailey told me we're number 3 now in the country on our kickoff coverage unit. So the amount of times we're tackling people inside the 20 when they do return it, because the phase of kickoffs is kind of getting phased out. I mean, we got to do something about that because that's a special play to me. It's very violent, and it can be very explosive at the same time. So I enjoy that phase of it, and it just seems like everything's a touchback nowadays. But moving on from that, just when it is returned, I really like the way our guys are running. Like, we're running by people, and then when we get to that back line, guys, we're putting hands on them and getting off blocks and making plays. So that unit is very impressive to me. I know, obviously, you talk about your kicker and your punter. They get all the fame when you start talking about special teams. The one you're talking about with Will, we had a little too much pressure on him, and he actually did a great job of just getting it off. I mean, it was a phenomenal job, and pinned it down there. It wasn't as much as he would like, but just get it off was the main thing. And then defensively, to be on short fields and things like that, and to just go out there and play ball and to have opportunities to go 3 and out is huge. I mean, it's awesome just to be able to get people to go 3 and out, and then you get your offense back out there after you have a punt that gets pinned down in there to make the long fields happen, or when you got a punt when you're backed up and now you have to get a stop. Like, there is no give up a first down or they're in field goal range. All those different scenarios matter because the field position battle is like the key for us. That's how we're going to stay in these games. So just the special teams units in general, we got one of the better kickers in the country. I believe our punter is one of the better ones in the country. So those guys being on the team and flipping fields and doing that and scoring points and everything, it's just been awesome.
Hey, just a quick, I have to, because I don't want to leave special teams yet. Carter Shaw is a player that was hurt and he's been beat up. Man, he is just flashing in my brain when I'm thinking about coverage teams. Mm-hmm. I know he can run like a deer, and he definitely stood out to me. And I know we don't always like to single out players, but I love a guy that comes off injury. I know he wants to be playing more receiver, but to see what he's doing on special teams, I think is pretty fantastic.
Oh, it's huge. And like you said, he's been hurt. He's been out, and he's just now getting back to where he's running full speed. And I don't even know if he's all the way 100%. He's probably more like 90 right now. And he just wants to help. He really just wants to help. He wants to get the chance to get out there and play. And it's impressive to see how he's missed so much practice, but when we finally were able to get him in the game, he's just gone. Like you would think he's been practicing the whole time. So that's been really good to see. And obviously he has very good bloodlines. He understands ball. He understands angles and all these things that are not natural to a lot of people. It's very natural to him. So it's good to see him being able to be out there and contribute.
Wayne, you thought I was going to go off special teams, but I was going to say one of my favorite plays of the whole game was Jameer Benjamin putting the exclamation point on the entire game at the very end. No drama on that kickoff return for Maryland. But I will go to defense because I was really impressed with what they did all night. One thing I noticed, you guys were really trying to throw a lot at Maryland, and on third downs especially. It felt like the defense looked like an amoeba. It was just, hardly maybe one guy had his hand in the ground. Everybody's moving around. What was the game plan defensively and what you guys were trying to do against Malik Washington and that Maryland offense?
All of that might have looked like chaos, but it was by design. I will say that. We wanted to give different looks. Like, that was part of the plan. We're finally at the phase, and I think I told you guys last week that we can do some things now. Like, we can actually pull deeper into the playbook and pull it out because the guys they're grasping it very, very well. We were so nervous, saying we just got to keep it simple, and then finally we were at the point where it's clicking. So now we can add to the package. So we obviously Maryland has a very good quarterback. He's going to be a very good player too as he gets older and older. But we wanted to give him stuff that was unscouted. So we subbed. I mean, there's times we were subbing 6 different people in there. So just in case they were going off our jersey numbers on certain things that we're doing, we wanted to throw them off on that. We didn't want him to know who the known rushers were and who was going to be dropping. And then we disguised pretty much on third down. We disguised almost all our coverages. So it worked really, really well for us. We knew we had something going. This was the amount of time it was tapping the ball. The ball wasn't getting out so fast. But we knew if he throws the ball, the major thing is we have to tackle it. We cannot let him catch and run. So that's what I was most proud of is the amount of times they would throw and we'd tackle. We were on them right away. So it was good to see. And each week you just keep adding more and more and more. And we have a new challenge now, and we'll see how it all works out.
Coach, this isn't a question. This is just a comment. But before every game, I get to do, and it's a little nerve-wracking to be. I get to do keys to the game on the jumbotron. And one of the things I talked about was we just need to make things confusing when you play a young quarterback. And I love that you said after the game that we were trying to mix things up as much as possible, and it showed because the quarterback had a lot of throws that were into coverage. So anyway, thank you for making me feel like I'm smart every once in a while. I appreciate that. But it's obviously a great plan. But on the other side of the ball, I think people are underestimating how good of a win this is because Maryland is a team that was right there with Nebraska, right there with Washington, and these are teams in our future. Their defense, I saw it on film before. I'm like, this is a different animal than even Michigan State. These guys are athletic. They're good. And for Nico, it was a rough go. To get those 190 whatever yards rushing was a rough go, especially with 2 guys down. It felt like it was just a constant battle, but you got to give Maryland some credit. They have some serious athletes. We talked about this last week, and you could see it by watching the game. And so we had to fight for every point in that game.
Every point was critical. It was hard. It was you had to strain. I mean, for real. And the athletes on that team and the size, I mean, they're tall, long dudes. Like we saw it in pregame. We were like, okay, this is as advertised. And they could run. They were physical. They could hit. There haven't been in a game they haven't been in. Like every single game. I don't care what the record is. Every single game they've been in the game. So they gave us some stuff, too. They didn't just run what they've been running. They did some unscouted things, too, that we had to adjust to. And they had some guys out injured, so they had some other guys playing, too, that were just as good. I mean, they didn't miss a beat. And when I was out on the sideline compared to when I watched the film, I didn't realize how much push we were getting up front and the production we were getting on our runs. Because when you're on the sideline, you want everything to be explosive and going and all that. But really, ultimately, you're trying to get 3 or more yards on these runs. So we were doing that. We ended up with 193 yards rushing. But just sticking with the run and then Frias popping a couple of big explosive ones, that's how we won the game. We just stuck with it. We kept on just taking what they were giving us. Berger, he had, I think, 19 carries for 65 yards, which was huge against that defense. And it worked out for us. I think they were giving up 112 yards rushing That was their average on the year, and we had 193. So we found ways to crease it and get going, but just sticking to what we were doing, stick to the plan, staying confident. That was the name of the game for us.
Yeah.
Kind of a bigger picture idea, but as you're talking, I was thinking about how something that's so critical in football when you are in these tight moments, have these critical plays as a player and perhaps even as a coach, you got to find a way to be comfortable when the game is uncomfortable. And that seems easy to say, but I'm sure it is something in practice that's hard to attain. How have you seen that out of your team recently, and how do you help them be comfortable when the going gets tough?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you're always trying to simulate that, and it's hard to simulate it because we're just at practice. But we do some things at practice to try to get that to happen. Like, we want to start fast, so as soon as we get done stretch, we're going right to team, which most people are going to go through individual, kind of warm up a little bit, and then you get going. So there's a strain of being ready to go right from the jump. Then as we go to practice, we have a 2-minute timeout warning break, and then we're going to go to a 12-minute team period. And that 12-minute team period is at the very end of practice. Everybody's already tired, and now we're talking about the strain. We got 12 minutes to strain to get better. And I think that carried over into the game. I really, really do. Just the way we practice, how practice isn't just easy. The Tuesdays and Wednesdays are hard, and you have to strain and grind for every single inch. And when we got in the fourth quarter, nobody panicked. We were already ready for it. We understood the challenge ahead of us, and just go back to the drawing board, strain, execute, and we'll be fine.
Coach, one of my other keys to the game was the running game. So I just wanted to say that I feel good about that one too. So thank you for that. Well, because I mean, you think about it. We talked about it the very first time we talked, Coach. We talked about how the running game. I was like confused. I was like, why are we not running the football more? We got these guys, and we're down to 4 string. I mean, I hate saying that. We've got 4 running backs that are playing a lot, and they're all really good. And we saw that from Anthony Frias. But I just wanted to commend those guys again. But we can't forget, Mikey got in the end zone for the first time. Nico threw some of his best passes of the whole game at the end. And then I feel guilty because I interviewed Mikey because he scored the touchdown after the game. And Titus was sitting right there, and I could hear his brain going, but I had 6 for 100, and I caught a couple of really big passes on that last, and he's right. So Titus, Mokiao, Atamalala, I apologize to you, but what I'm trying to get at is all these guys on offense made the go back if we're going to keep throwing out wooden stuff in coach speak. Be at your best when your best is needed. And it felt like that's what happened.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody knows we talk about moments. There's going to be moments, and you don't know when they're going to come up, but you better be ready for that moment. And that's a prime example of that. Multiple guys. Even Nico. Nico's down on the ground. I go out there, and he's yelling as loud as anybody I've ever heard on the ground. And he was banged up. And then when he got up and he walked off and he went in the tent and felt he was okay, came right back out there, and he stood in that pocket and he threw the ball, not feeling 100%. Just a warrior, just a stud to just do that. And then that instills confidence in the receivers and your ball carriers. All the guys like, he's out here, I'm out here, let's go. Our leaders here, we're going to make this happen. All we have to do is get in field goal range. We're going to be fine. And to see it happen, man, to see it happen, it's just so awesome.
It's awesome.
I do want to ask you about Jalen Berger because he's been asked to do a lot here these last couple of weeks. Great game at Michigan State. And then in this game against Maryland, don't have Anthony Woods and Javian Thomas available for the bulk of that game, so you have to lean on Jalen. What have you seen out of him the last couple of weeks and how he's responded to this increased workload?
No doubt. He's an old man in that room, too, by the way. So he has all the experience. He's a guy that doesn't say boo. He does nothing. He's just going to go work. And that's what I love about him. He just goes out there and he works. And then when he gets in the game, it's not a surprise when he makes guys miss and things like that, just because of how hard he works. Great balance, very strong runner, good vision, all those wonderful things. He can protect. He's a good protector, has good hands. I think he caught 2 touchdowns Michigan State game. But he's just an all-around good back. I think we have a committee of guys, and if guys get banged up, we have enough depth at that position to where we can keep on doing what we do. We don't have to change things up. So that's definitely a great luxury to have.
Coach, what an amazing opportunity. Coming off 3 straight wins, I imagine the locker room, this is the kind of week that you and I remember as players. When you have a big one coming up and it's game week and you're allowed to actually talk about it because that's who you're playing next. Indiana, number 2 team in the country, on the road, big noon. I just get the chills thinking about it because every single player in your locker room, they've got to be beyond excited, but yet stay as focused as possible to get ready for an unbelievable opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of validates how far we came. Like when I took over a month and a week ago or whatever it was, and for you to say we're playing big noon national audience kickoff, I would say you're just messing with me. But the guys are excited for it. We didn't talk much about it before, but in the locker room after the game, you started hearing guys start talking about Indiana. So I know the focus is there. Well, we had a meeting yesterday, which was a lot of recap in the last game, and then just a small little bit about the next one, which is Indiana. But now tomorrow we'll really get it talking about who we're playing, how we need to win, do things we need to do. And hopefully when I walk in there, I feel the energy that, hey, this is a real one. We got to get our minds right. We have to be ready to go. That blood should be pounding a little bit and flowing. So we'll see how we go tomorrow morning. I'm not really worried about that energy level, but I just like to see it. It's like Christmas. That's Christmas for a coach, when you know your team's excited and ready to go.
When you look at this Indiana team, there's a lot of names that have been there for a couple of years, but they got this quarterback they brought in, Fernando Mendoza, that seems to have elevated them this season. What are you seeing out of this offense and how they've been able to, whether they're passing or throwing, they're putting up points?
Yeah, they are very disciplined. They're going to take what you give them. They have a system, and they run it. I mean, Coach Cignetti does a great job with the whole team, not just the offense. Their whole team. They are complementary football to a T. Their offense, they're going to run the ball. They are one of the most explosive runs in the Big Ten. They make people miss. I mean, they make people miss. I can't say that enough. That's the emphasis for us is we have to tackle. Because most of their explosives, they make a guy miss, either run through you or run around you, and they end up getting out to the house. So we have a big-time challenge for us. The quarterback is awesome. He's the quarterback and the leader and whatever you want to say about it. He controls it all, and it goes through him, and he does a very, very good job of just being efficient. I mean, if you're going to play deep, I'm just going to throw it low. You guys are going to go down low, I'm going high. I'm going to throw deep on you. Like, he's very, very efficient. He reads the box, knows where he wants the run game to go, and they have a very good old line that protects him, so he's very, very comfortable back there. We have our hands full. We definitely have our hands full, and we need to have a good week of practice so we're ready to go.
Coach, after the game, I had a chance to talk to Pleasant. I had to talk to Jalen Woods, and both pretty quiet guys. Like they didn't want to brag, didn't want to say too much about them. But you throw in the secondary with Cole and Key and Scooter and Jordan and all that, as well as they've been playing. This is a different animal. They've got Surratt and Coleman, who are really good outside receivers. You said they run the ball well, which makes everything way more difficult because they're not one-dimensional. But I've been so impressed with the way the linebackers have played. I mean, really the whole defensive unit, but the secondary and coverage, it just feels like, and I'm just going to say this from a fan standpoint, you said it's hard to believe we'd be where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's hard to believe for me that this defense can come in. And I'm actually in my brain, I'm going, they beat Michigan State 38-13, just like we did, but they played them at home. Mm-hmm. We played them on the road. Mm-hmm. And now I'm looking at the way we've been playing, the way we've been stepping up. And I'm like, and we've got a quarterback that could cause them problems with his legs and with his arm. And we've already seen how people are adjusting to him, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're spying him a lot more. They're doing other things. But with the confidence that's growing, I just feel like there has to be a confidence going into this game where we feel like not only are we going to show up, but we're going to compete and try to come out of there with another one of the most shocking wins of the season.
Yeah, and I think the key for us is just consistency. We just need to be consistent. The standard's the standard. Live up to it. We know how to play now. We know how to win games. Now we need the challenges to be consistent with that every single week, and that's where we're at. This is going to be a big-time opponent. The biggest game is always the next game, and this is the next game, and it's a game we need to be ready for. We need to make sure that we practice the way we're supposed to practice. Tuesday and Wednesday need to be like game simulation, and then Thursday is when we take the pads off. We get out there. We have our little mock game deal on Friday, and then we have to be the best versions of ourselves when it's Saturday. We have to be ready to go. And that's what it's going to take. We're going to have to play an A-plus game, but all that means is be the best version of you, and we'll be fine.
We've seen consistency throughout this team over the last couple of weeks, and one piece of that is Kevin Coyle, who you called the godfather of defense. I'd be curious, just to help Bruin fans get to know him a little bit more, some of the principles that you've learned from him. I have a feeling Wayne and I have maybe heard them out of your mouth over these last few weeks, but what is Kevin Coyle all about when it comes to his defensive philosophy?
Yeah, I think it starts with fanatical effort. And then once you get the effort down, now the mental side comes to it, because we're going to do multiple things, and each week it could be different. But with all the different stuff going on, it always comes back to fundamentals. You have to use your hands and get off blocks. You have to move your feet when you make tackles. You're going to have to see your targets and know where you need to be. Like, it always comes back to fundamentals. And I don't care what we run on defense. It's always, hey, your feet need to do this, or your eyes need to go here on this play here. Use your hands here. Like, it's always going to come back to that. What coverage it is, or what stunt, or what blitz, you just need to know where you're going. But once you get going, that's when the fundamentals take over. And I think he does a great job of just preaching fundamentals, just angles. Like, we'll do pursuit drill until it's right. Like, angles from all 11 guys have to be right. And then always preaching party at the ball. Party at the ball. We want 11 hats at the ball. 11 hats at the ball. Stripping at it. Make it look like there's 22 people out there. And play with that fanatical effort. That's kind of the meat and potatoes of what the defense is.
Coach, I love the psychological part of sports. Believe it or not, it wouldn't surprise me is after going 0-4 and then 3-0 in your last 3 games, that some players start feeling like, hey, I'm pretty good. And sometimes, and again, you want to keep that chip on your shoulder. You want to keep that, like, we need to keep showing people who we are without guys starting to maybe strut around a little bit more than they should. Is that part of what you guys think about when Nick Saban used to call it rat poison, right? Mm-hmm. We're getting a lot of positive press clippings. We're getting a lot of positive. It's the best turnaround in college football, but you want to keep these guys like, listen, we got to have an edge.
Yeah, and I felt like that after the Penn State game. That's why the whole one-hit wonder thing came out. But consistency, that's the word. It's consistency. Yeah. You know, real ball players, real athletes, real whatever, you're always consistent. Like Michael Jordan, you knew he was consistently going to show up. You know, like our team, we have to consistently show up and do what we're supposed to do. And you can tell by how practice goes. Practice is going to tell you a lot. You know, you know how you're attacking the week, and then because the practice carries over to the game. So my focus is we need to have a great Tuesday practice, and then once Tuesday is over, now we need to have a great Wednesday. I'm not even thinking about Saturday. We need to defeat those days before we get to Saturday, and if we do that, we'll be in good position.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we have consistently enjoyed our time with you. Each week we get to sit down, talk ball, and learn a little bit more. We appreciate your time very much and look forward to this weekend. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you. It's always great talking to you guys.